Welcome back to my Final Fantasy Marathon. This is day 4. I am currently playing Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster. Yesterday, I left off after finishing the Earth Cavern, I believe. So I am headed to my next destination. If you've never played this game before and you want to stay unspoiled, here's your warning that there will be spoilers for gameplay elements and story elements. So if you want to avoid those, it's probably best to tune out of this video. So if I take a look at my overworld map, you can see that over on the southeast corner of the map, there is an area that I have not accessed previously. And it looks like there's a dock over on the far eastern side of that, so I'm going to head over there. My ship is just right nearby here. This is right outside of Melman. Accidentally made that map big. Like I can just kind of sail around the outer edge of this continent here. I like to just follow the shoreline because it makes it a little easier to figure out where I'm going and I have to check the map. The Earth Cave that we did previously. Going kind of straight to the east. Pull up this bigger map. Today is a weekend day for me, so I'm going to just keep playing until I feel like I'm at a good place to stop. There. A little bit further. So we made it to the dock. I'm going to go ahead and save real quick so that if I get wiped or something, I don't have to worry about traveling all that distance again. So our goal is to get to this town that's in the middle of that little crescent-shaped water area. and we have arrived at the town of Crescent Lake. This town does not have any chests to find. It's got an inn, an item shop, weapons and armor, and black magic and white magic shop. So stop by the inn first thing. Amount of money, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop by the supply shop. Haven't really used up any supplies, but I'd like to just keep picking up a few at a time, so we'll go ahead and grab a few more potions. A few more high potions. Some ethers. Downs. And boots. I think we're good on everything else. Let's see what they've got at the magic shops. Poisona, which cures the stone condition. Exit, which transports you out of dungeons but can't be cast yet. Protera, which raises your party's defense. And Invisira, which raises your evasion. I'll go ahead and pick up Stona. These gold needles are kind of expensive to stock up on. I'll definitely want Exit, but since we can't cast it yet, I'll wait to get that. Terra might be helpful, but I don't know if I want to spend that much money on it right now. Let's see what's in the black magic shop. We have Thundaga, which I'll definitely want. Death, Quake, and Stun. Death just doesn't work often enough to be worthwhile to me. Kind of the same for Quake, so I think I'm just gonna get Thundaga for now. Let's check out the weapon and armor shops. Looks like the Mithril sword would be an upgrade for my warrior, but also the Mithril axe. You know what, I feel like we're gonna get some of those in treasure chests, so I'm not gonna buy that. The buckler would be an upgrade for our thief, so we'll go ahead and get that. And some gloves for our warrior. Since I can afford it, I think I will go ahead and get that Protera spell. So that's all of our shopping done. My husband is always traveling, and in the little time he is home, he sleeps all day. I think he needs to get his priorities straight. Okay, thanks for sharing. Zzz, that must be the husband. Nothing interesting at the graves. I already talked to her. Alright, if you're trying to stay unspoiled, here's another opportunity for you to check out of the video. We have this little circle of magic-looking guys. This is Lucan of the famous Lucan's Prophecy. I am Lucan. I see a cycle of wrath, a dim light, guided by destiny, about which our entire future revolves. That's all he has to say. Well done, warriors of light. You have defeated the fiend of earth and restored the crystal's light. Sadly, this has drawn the notice of the fiend of fire, who was not to have stirred for another 200 years. Take this canoe and go face the fiend in Mount Golg. So he gives us a canoe, and that will let us travel past the rivers. The volcano Mount Golg rises to the west of this town. The fiend of fire long slept within its passages, but she has awoken 200 years before her time. Vanquish her before the world is consumed in flame. Bring the light of the 4 crystals to us, warriors of light. Only you can do this. When all 4 crystals shine once more, return here. All will be revealed. Where the fiend of fire passes, all is engulfed in flame. The fiend of earth rots the land. The 4 fiends plot to rule the world, both past and present. The fiend of wind appeared 400 years ago, followed 200 years later by fiend of water. Together they laid waste to the civilization in the north. The source of the 4 forces are the altars scattered throughout the world. Defeat the fiends that have taken root there, and lift up the crystal you carry to the altar. The crystal should regain its brilliance. Fire, earth, water, and wind. These are the 4 forces that compose our world. 4 great crystals exist in this world. The light that once shone within them is now lost. The 4 fiends of chaos block the powers of the crystals, claiming it as their own. 12 sages are we, guided to this land by the stars and prophecy. So basically, we've already restored the earth crystal, and the next thing we need to do is restore the fire crystal. Although, you don't have to do all of these in any specific order, I don't think, but I don't think we can access the other 2 yet. There is another place that we could go before we go to Mount Gold, but I'm not going to do that. So, save outside here. Alright, Mount Gold is that little circle over to the northwest here. And to get there, we've got to sail on these rivers. So we can just head out right here. It took me a long time to figure out that the little gray thing in the middle of this was somebody rowing a boat. Probably gonna use some tents before I go into Mount Gold, so I'm gonna go ahead and use some magic while we're on this river, because some of these enemies are actually a little bit difficult. Or can be. That one wasn't. Go this way. Another area where having a black mage in your party makes things a lot easier. make sure we go in with all of our magic and everything stocked up, because it's a pretty good sized dungeon, and this will decrease the chance that I'm going to have to come back out and restock. This has 37 treasures, mostly underwhelming treasures, but I'm going to pick them up anyway. See that this is kind of a circular shaped room that just has the stairway down. The lava spots in here, we'll get to in just a minute. The lava spots cause damage to your character with every step in the same way that when you're poisoned and you walk around does. However, there are no random encounters when you're walking on the lava, so that's kind of the trade-off there. But it does pay to occasionally check your health to make sure you haven't lost too much health while you've been walking through there, so you don't get surprised and walk into a battle and end up getting killed. You would think we would be seeing fire gigas in here instead of the hill gigas. I'm gonna go through this door instead. Let's pick this treasure up. Here's some fire elementals. They're very similar to the earth elementals that we faced in the last dungeon, except for they cast fire. Get some cash in that chest. Battle with fire elementals. Get the lethal helm, which I think I already have one for him, and I don't think anyone else can equip it. Two more chests up here. I think there may be places in this dungeon where you can walk through the walls, I don't remember. Great sword from that one, which is not an upgrade for him, or him either. See if it does anything special. Effective against giants. Don't know, I guess. There's another treasure chest over there. Devils. might expect, a lot of the enemies in this dungeon cast fire spells. And they're also weak to cold magic. Cash in that chest. I've seen this group of enemies before. In that section. Cash, and another monster in a box. And more cash. Which isn't a super exciting bit of loot, but it is useful. Okay, a whole bunch of chests down there. Another one of these optional fights. Take them on just in case, just because. It's just the same fire elemental battle that we've been seeing. High potion, tent, lethal helm. Gloves, which I think I also already have. Yep. Some of these items are more useful if you have like multiple warriors in your party. Lava worm's a new one. Antidote. More monsters. And some cash. Monsters. And it's the lava worm again. More cash. More cash. Lethal shield, which I think I already bought. There's the mithril axe. Give that to him. Don't have that. And a phoenix down. That's all the treasure in this room. Just need to make our way to the exits. Can't get to that one that's on the left, so we'll need to go back to this one in the middle. Although there might be like a place to walk through the wall over there, but I'm just gonna go to the middle. Pyrolisk, or another version of the cockatrice. I don't remember whether they have the stone ability or if they have something else. There's a version of this enemy that causes instant death, I think. To the left, and to the right there's just a stairway down. A whole bunch of these Pyrolisk. Arrived at B4. Let's check our health. Okay, I think. This room just has the one stairway. Take a peek at our health. And we're back on a different part of B3. There. So I guess all of that's just to trick you into wandering around. So we need to go down this way. Here. And then down and to the left. First appearance of the Hellhound. Doesn't look like a hound, it looks like a cat. Get a little low on health. Boost a few people up. Let's hop in here. Looks like we got 2 treasure chests. Monster in a box. Lava worm again. And we get a gold needle. Which suggests to me that the Pyrolisk probably do have the stone special ability. Another monster in a box. Fire lizard. This one has a group fire attack. Doesn't do a ton of damage though. It's a big hit. Some cash. Where to? This room does have some treasure in it, and so does that middle room. This way. Hound. Some more cash. The floors are back. We should probably heal up a little bit. monsters. And nice amount of cash. Shield. It's probably going to be an upgrade for our warrior, and it is. The flame shield is imbued with the power of fire and guards against ice. So it sounds like it should protect against fire, but it actually protects against ice. Stop doing that. More money, and the ice brand. If he can equip it. Nope. So that will go to our warrior. And it is a sword imbued with the power of ice. Which should make it more powerful against fire enemies, although there's at least one fire enemy in this dungeon where that doesn't seem to be the case. There's the fire gigas. That's the last of our cure spells. So we need to rely on our items for the rest of the way. 30 million there, right? Yep. Down here. Minotaurs are bugging out. Monsters. Fire lizard. Some money. Lost it again. Another plain old staff. What is up with that? Yep, it's just a regular wooden staff. Head to the next floor. This is B5. And this room has doors on the four corners. And also on some of the central passages. So I'm just gonna pick a door, go inside, and then we can look and see if there's anything in the other rooms. This red dragon, I think, is one of the more powerful enemies in this dungeon. So I'm gonna go ahead and bust out some blizzard magic against it. Its spell does quite a bit of damage to the entire party. Fortunately, our black mage was able to take it down. We're gonna have to heal up. This one has one treasure in it. So we're gonna have to go past this guy to get it. And there's the red dragon again. Have to cast a spell that time. And we get the flame mail for my wear. Looks like the knight's armor may be better from a pure defensive standpoint. Flame mail guards against ice, which I don't think we'll be facing any ice enemies in this dungeon. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave him with the knight's armor. I don't think the thief can equip this. Oh. So that top left room does not have anything in it, nor does the top middle room, but there is something in the top right room, so we'll head over there. Straight up. Straight over. Check our health. There's just a potion in that box. This room over here does have a treasure, so we'll head down there. It's open. It's super annoying right now. Another potion. There's treasure in that bottom right room, so we're gonna head down there. Dragon in the back. We didn't need magic to take him down last time, so I'm gonna try it without. And he went down pretty easy. underwhelming treasure in this dungeon. This floor of it, anyway. There's one room left, and it appears that the crystal is in that room. Originally, treasures were the only things that you could see inside of rooms on this map. And then at some point they changed that, but could be wrong. Another opportunity for you to tune out if you want to stay unspoiled on gameplay and story elements. Gonna go ahead and heal up real quick. So you are the ones who defeated the Fiend of Earth and roused Merilith from her slumber. The power of the burning flame is mine, and mine alone. Those who would oppose me shall burn in hellfire. And there's Merilith in all her glory. It seems like she would be weak against ice, but I don't think she actually is. This Prophesy spell. Because I don't think she's particularly weak against anything. Rather than hit her with Blizzard, I think I'm going to use Temper to try to power up my fighters. Seems like his Ice Brand is doing a lot of damage. Rid of his blindness, so he doesn't keep missing. They're doing a decent amount of damage. I'm gonna try casting Blizzard and see what happens. Too bad. Our Black Mage just went down, so we just mostly wasted that high potion. We have the life spell. We do, but we've used up all that tier, so I'm gonna have to use Phoenix down. And that character is gonna immediately go down again. Another Phoenix down. But the boss is gonna go down before we can get our Black Mage back up. We hold up our fire crystal, and that reactivates the big fire crystal. This is the altar of fire from which the power of fire flows forth. We can head back here to the warp point. I should have checked to make sure I had all the treasures before I did that, but I'm pretty sure that I do. No, I did miss some. 34 out of 37. I wonder where I missed them at. They're not really that important, but I feel obligated to go back and get them. So let's go ahead and use Phoenix down to get Mage back up. And then we will use one or more tents to get everybody healed up. Not fully healed, I think that's probably good enough for our purposes, since I'm just going to run back through and try to figure out where I missed these treasure chests. Looks like I got all of the ones in that room. There must have been a room, like an entire room I missed somewhere. There's nothing on this floor. Just the one stairway here, I think. There it is. You missed that room right there in the upper right hand corner. cottage. And a potion. Could have lived without them, but I like to get all the treasure. I think at this point it's going to be faster to go back to the fire crystal warp point than to backtrack to the entrance. So we'll just keep going. Need to head directly southwest. Now we're done for real. Save again. I'm gonna go ahead and use another tent, because we're probably gonna run into some more enemies on the river and might need to heal. Alright, so now we just have to return to the town. The enemies on these rivers are something else that I remember being significantly more difficult in the original version of this game. Almost back to the town. We've got to take these guys out first. Just getting ready to say they look like they're probably another poisonous enemy, and they are. We are back at Crescent Lake, and of course our first stop's going to be the inn. Since we did use a couple Phoenix Downs, I'm going to stop by the item shop. So looking forward to, I'm just going to go ahead and max out my potions at this point. Stop by the magic shops again to see if there's anything I want to pick up now that I've got more money. Even though I can't cast it yet, I'm going to go ahead and get exit here just because I know I'm going to want it. Well, actually I can't learn it either. I thought you could learn it but not cast it. So I'm not going to get exit. Come back and get that later. There's anything else I really want to buy. I feel like there should be an NPC in here that gives you a hint about where you're supposed to go next, but if there is, I'm not finding them. Let's go talk to Sleepy Guy again. Maybe he's awake. I've been after the Levistone for 10 years. The cave to the north looks promising, but I can't go. I'd never hear the end of it from my wife. That nagging wife. So that is the... She still says the same thing. So that is the hint to go to the northern cave. See over on the right side of the map, there's another dock a little ways to the north, so we need to return to our ship. Which is right over here. Keep going north and land on that dock and walk over, but you can transfer directly from the ship to the canoe. So I usually just come over to the river and go that way. Look at the map and figure out where I need to go from here. Go straight up. trying to get to. Before I go in, I'm going to use a tent. I'm pretty sure you can go to this cave before you do Mount Golg if you want to. But I usually just go ahead and do Mount Golg first. Mage doesn't quite have all of their magic back. But I don't think we'll need it. I don't know if we can afford tents at this stage. I'm gonna go ahead and use another one. This cave has 15 chests in it. Head straight to the right. This is called the Ice Cave, I believe. Friends, the Pisco demons are back. Cockatrice have returned. This is the second floor. And there's only one place to go here as well. First appearance of the Ice Gigas. Floor, all you can do is take a couple steps and go up the stairs, which takes us to a different part of B2. And there's only one thing you can do here also. A new enemy called the Mind Flayer, which may be familiar to some of you Stranger Things fans. It's also an enemy that occurs in Dungeons & Dragons, which is how it ended up in the Stranger Things series. Player has that Mind Blast attack that can result in paralyzing the entire party if it hits. Usually doesn't. The warrior seems to be the most susceptible to it. Alright, in this room There's a warning to go ahead and tune out if you don't want to be spoiled. But in this room you can see where those little like X-looking things on the floor are all spots in the floor where if you step on them you fall down to the next level. So we're going to try to pick up these treasure chests first. Box fight. Now, these guys can be a real pain in the butt. Now I wish I had quick save before I got into this battle. Go ahead and break out the magic and see if we can take them out before they cause us a problem. They have some special attacks that can end up wiping your whole party if they get a chance to hit you with them before you take them out. So don't mess around with the Dark Wizards. And that chest contains some worthless clothes. I'm gonna walk around and try to get to the other one. I will quick save before I open this one. It contains the Flame Sword, which is not an upgrade over the Ice Brand, other than the Flame Sword is imbued with the power of fire, which means it's good to use against enemies that are weak against fire. It actually has lower attack power than the Ice Brand, apparently. I'm going to go ahead and give it to him while we're in this ice dungeon, because there are some ice enemies in here. That triangular thing that you see a couple steps away is the Leva Stone, which is what we're in here to try to get. But we can't get to it without stepping on a crack and breaking our mother's back, so we have no choice. That's what we're going to do. Drop through the floor. That takes us to B3, and there's a mandatory enemy fight here against a large group of these undead. The main issue with this group is that they do have the paralyzing attack, so I'm gonna go ahead and try to take them out quickly. Warrior is already paralyzed. Down we go. Now we can proceed into the rest of the area. So there are 2 chests in the room over to the left. These squares with the little spiky looking things do damage like the lava floor does. There's a pack of blood bones. Square off against the white dragons. magic against them. But they went down before we could cast it. And we get the ice armor. In terms of raw defense, it is not better than the knight's armor. Although it has better evasion percentage. It is imbued with the power of ice, which guards against fire, and there are no fire casting enemies in this dungeon. So we're just going to leave it where it's at. Some mithril gloves in the other chest, which we already have equipped. So there's some more treasure down south. Backtrack to get to it. More blood bones. Wolves. These guys are mostly annoying because they have a special attack that hits the whole party, and when they all decide to cast it, it makes the battle feel like forever because you have to watch the animation for it. I'm gonna go ahead and try using some fire magic against them. Wolves again. There's that special attack. It doesn't do a lot of damage, it just takes up time. And more money, so we make quite a bit of money in this dungeon. Of the treasure on this floor. So I'm just gonna make our way to the stairs. This is the most dangerous enemy on this floor, these dark wizards, if they hit you with their special abilities. So I'll go ahead and try to take them down faster if I can. checked out. Almost made it to the stairs. Winter Wolf sounds like it should be the title, which is kind of marbled. Captain America, Winter Wolf. Takes us back to B1, which is the very first floor, but it's a section of that floor that we weren't able to access previously. Go through that door, and there's a treasure chest right here. Some ether in it. There's another one down here. Chest in that middle room. One thing to be wary of on this floor is there is a stairway that goes up, and if you take that stairway, it takes you out of the cavern, and you'll have to start all the way over from the entrance to get back to this point. So don't go up that stairway until you're ready to leave. Not that I've ever done that, of course. Careful about is the little crack in the floor, because if you step on that before you open these treasure chests, then you've got to walk back around here again. Another white dragon. Some money. Sleeping bag. A shield. Not better than the flame shield, but it, unlike the other, well no, wait, ice shield protects against fire, so never mind, we're better off keeping the flame shield in here. So, we have now opened all 15 chests, so we're safe to step on the crack. And that drops us down into the middle of this so we can get the level stone. But first we have to face what may be the easiest boss fight in the history of video games, also known as the Evil Eye. That's that. Down in one round. And the lava stone is ours. Since we don't have the exit spell yet, we're gonna have to step on a crack again. And drop ourselves back down to this floor. Quick save just in case. We can just go hog wild with our magic at this point, since there's not a boss fight or anything to save it for. Already picked up the treasure in this room, so we just need to make our way to the stairway up. Our winter wolves are back. There's some nice storms. Something I hadn't noticed when I was using my regular speakers instead of the headset was the little kind of tinkling sound. I don't know if you can hear it on the video or not, but when you cast the ice cream spell, I never noticed really like having things over my ears, so I often don't wear the headset while I'm gaming, but then when I do wear it and hear all the things that you can't really hear through regular speakers, I feel like I should wear it more. So, it's a trade-off, I guess. When I'm playing Fallout 76, I notice a lot of things in a headset that I can't really hear on the external speakers. There's a lot of people wear their headset in those type of games so they can hear footsteps and that kind of thing, which in that game the difficulty level is so low for the most part, you really don't have to worry about that kind of thing, but you notice some other sound effects that are not very audible without the headset. Do not use their microphones very much in that game, and I actually have the microphone or the voice chat muted. This is the very occasional times when I've heard someone talking and it's usually somebody being annoying. It is useful for raids and different things sometimes though. Let's save the game. Just so that I've got some cure magic I can use if I need it before we make it back to town. Actually, I think before we go to town, I'm gonna go ahead and do the next thing, which is going to be another spoiler. So if you don't want to get spoiled, here's another chance to tune out of the video. Now, I feel like some NPC somewhere must have given some kind of hint to do this, otherwise I don't know how in the world that you would know to do it unless you just accidentally happened across it or, you know, looked it up on the internet. But I need to go down to this desert at the southern tip of this continent. Sorry to say concert for some reason. So to do that, I need to get back on the river. Those sages in Crescent Lake ever give you new advice when you advance in the game, or if there's some other NPC that says something different. I can't remember how I first figured out that this was where I needed to go, but I don't feel like walking around talking to NPCs to discover that, so. If you're new to the game, presumably you're not listening at this point anyway, so that you don't get spoiled on what's going to happen. Just turned around and went the wrong way. And if you're not new to the game, you probably already know where to go, or you're comfortable with looking it up on the internet. So we don't really need to go find that NPC that tells you what to do. Back in the day, before you had the internet, you put these games down and didn't play them again for a while. It really could be a challenge to figure out what you were supposed to do next. A lot of time, maybe not necessarily in this particular game, but in some of these Final Fantasy games, just wandering around the map trying to figure out where I was supposed to go. My parents wouldn't have skint my hide if I tried to get through it by calling the Nintendo power line to get a hint. those kind of parents, but they would have been mad about it. The ice cavern, I'm gonna go ahead and change my warrior's equipment back to the ice brand. If you're not old enough to know what I'm talking about, back when this game was originally released and the Nintendo Entertainment System was relatively new, there was a phone service that you could call that charged you, I think it was per minute, I don't know, I never called it, but you call it to get hints on what you're supposed to do in the games because you couldn't just look it up. There were like guides, like printed guides that you could buy at GameStop and those kind of places. But you couldn't just go on the internet and figure things out. So you either had to know somebody in real life that could tell you what to do, or you could call that Nintendo Power Hotline and get some tips that you had to pay for, which is a pretty questionable business practice when you're talking about something that's marketed to children. But anyway, it existed, it was a thing. There were actually people in the pre-internet days, even outside of that Nintendo thing, who made a living like answering people's questions about video games by phone. Alright, so what we're going to do is just walk into this desert, and it's going to stop you shortly in. And we whip out the levistone. And the airship emerges. If you've played any Final Fantasy, the airship is old hat by now, but this was the first appearance of the airship, obviously, in the Final Fantasy series. So it was kind of a cool moment when you experienced it for the first time. And the idea of flying around in a ship was new. That opens up more areas to you, and some of the areas that you could previously access by ship, now instead of having to take the ship, you can take the airship, which is faster. I'm going to grab that airship. First thing I'm going to do is go back to Crescent. Well, do I need to do anything there? No, I don't really need to do anything there. So I'm going to be a cheapskate, and instead of going to Crescent, I'm going to fly up here. Actually, I am going to stop it. No, I'm not. Thought I might buy some of the magic I skipped, but I'm going to do that later. I'm going to fly over here to Cornelia because their inn is cheaper. So I might as well use it instead of spending more money for the same service. And then I'll stop by their supply shop. See if I want to restock anything. I guess since I'm here anyway, let's talk to the dancing girl. Hi there, I'm a dancer. What's that? You want to dance with me? Hee hee. I don't know what else to tell you. How about we have that dance? What do you say? I guess she doesn't really have any tips for you. Presumably at some point in the game she would have. One thing you can do is if you are completely unsure where to go, no NPC has told you where to go in these games. A pretty good bet is to look for something that you couldn't access before you got your new vehicle or whatever. And in this case, it's going to be these two continents to the north of here. And at this stage, I often forget where you need to go first. But I think I'm actually going to head for these islands in the middle of those two continents. And there are some spoilers up there, so if you're watching the video and you don't want to get spoiled, I would tune out. Just saying. Alright, so I'm just gonna go straight up north in between these two continents, these little islands. And then hole in the ground. Park right there. Thinking about it, whether there's something else I should do first. You know what? I think there is something else I should do first. And this is one of the bigger spoilers in the game, so you've been warned twice now. Get out if you don't want to hear it. Instead of going there, I'm gonna go to the tip of what looks like a wing here on this continent. Where I actually want to go is this castle right here, but you can't land the ship on anything that looks like a green blob. You can only land it on this like straight green area, and none of that's big enough to land on here. Or if any of it is, I haven't found it. This looks like it should be. I don't think it is. I don't think you can land anywhere over here. So instead I'm going to land on the tip of this wing. And then I'll have to walk over there, which is annoying. But they wanted to make you walk places for whatever reason. To make it a little more challenging, I guess. Encountering some new enemies you haven't seen before in this area. Tigers. Walking up the wing. Round mountains. Now I think about it, I forgot to go to the supply shop like I said I was going to. But that should be okay. I think I've got plenty of supplies. Here. Now that I think about it, I think I probably could have sailed my ship to the edge of that water and just got off there instead of walking around. Oh well, I've already done it. Go ahead and use a tent out here. Might as well use up that sleeping bag and see what it does. That got us back to full health, so I did before we got in this battle again. Go ahead and step in here. And this is the Citadel of Trials. For story reasons, if you had gone in those holes in the ground first, they would direct you here, but You come bearing the crown, I see. So you have to have the crown to access this area, but I'm pretty sure you would have had to get that before you could open this up anyway. I'm trying to think. Yeah, you had to have the crown to get the nitro powder. So I don't know that there's any possible way to get here without having the crown. Your fortitude cannot be questioned. Indeed not. Very well. I shall grant you the right to undergo the trials. Go now. Sit upon the throne. Your courage will be put to the test. If true courage dwells within you, you will find proof of it here. So we gotta head to this room up here, and there are 10 chests in here. There's the throne. And it warps us to another floor. You can see that there's a chest up in that room. Some stairs down there. But this dungeon works a little bit different than most. Instead of having the traditional passageways, it has these little teleporter things. And they'll just take you from one of these to another. Some of the rooms only have one place to go, so... This one has 2. Since I've done it before, I usually remember which way to go, but since I said that, I'll probably mess it up. But usually you can figure it out by trial and error, but if you get lost in here, you can just look it up. Choice right here. This one, we got top one, the bottom one. I'm actually losing confidence that I remember which way to go because it has been a while since I've played. And that's super annoying. It must put a lot of slow deaths. Game, rather than just purely slowing you down, it actually reduces the number of hits. You probably noticed that the characters usually get more than 1 hit when they attack. When you're under slowed, you'll usually just get 1 hit, which has a pretty big impact on the amount of damage that you can do. Does have haste, so I could use that to speed us back up. And I'm not going to. But I think we can win without doing that. I could also have my Mage cast magic to get it over faster. But I think we're going to manage to win without doing that. Although I'm kind of regretting my decision. We did make it through. Like the right way to go so far. I think it's this one. I might have went the wrong way at some point. Closer one or the far one away? Okay, that wasn't where I messed up. I think it was the next one. so let's try the closer one. Okay, and we're back on track. Let's go in this room and see what's in there. And there's little zombies. Quick save just in case. It's just a potion, no monsters. And we're maxed out on potions. So where to? I'm pretty sure I don't need to go to the one that's in that little hallway there. So it's either that one or that one. I think it's this one. Medusa makes her first appearance. She's a character from Greek mythology. It seems like she should have the stone attack, but I don't know if she does. Only one way to go here. And so there's a mandatory fight. Against these nightmares, spelled Night M-A-R-E, so we got a little play on words there. Get my Black Mage there. For what their snort ability does, I think it might cause blindness. Yep. Alright. We'll go ahead and quick save here just in case. Healing staff. So this is one of the more useful items in the game. It's also an introduction of the first item, like a weapon that you can use as an item. It's a staff that casts heal when used. Or do you need to equip it or have it in your inventory? You need to have it in your inventory, not equip it. I could be wrong about that. Pretty sure you need to have it in your inventory, and then you use it as an item. And it casts heal on the entire party. It doesn't heal you very much, but because it doesn't use any... Well, I just accidentally used one of my potions. Anyway, since it doesn't use any MP, you can just use it constantly. And if you've got a white mage in the party, they don't do very much attack damage anyway, so you just keep spamming that and keep your party healed up, and that helps keep you from running out of magic and items. So we're gonna start that right here. So the items. Be able to still use it if it's in your, if you equipped it, but I'm not sure. Healing staff. And use the auto battle, so under the auto battle system, you would have to issue that command every time, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But here we can just set it and forget it until I need for her to do something else. And then she'll just keep healing the party continuously. She did use a little bit of attack power because she did have some ability to attack. Save a lot more conserving your white magic and steel glove. type of armor. So I'm going to give that to my thief. Maybe some more chests down here. Healing staff can be used by any member of the party. It doesn't have to be used by a mage, but I feel like it does better, like it heals more when your mages use it. Some money in that chest. More money. Cottage. Also, clay golems. They would cause poison, but they apparently do. Gauntlets are another item you can use from your inventory. They cast Thundara when used. So I usually set them up with my black mage the same way that I do with the healing staff with the white mage. Just so that I can continually cast that spell without using any MP. Makes things a little easier, a little faster. So one last treasure over here. The rat's tail, which is a special item that we'll figure out the use for here in just a little bit. And then this mandatory battle in order to get back out of here. It's just 2 more dragon zombies, so there's not really a boss in here. I guess the main trial is figuring out the teleporters. Stuff, and our black mage will use gauntlets, and the thought of battle. And that's it for the Citadel of Trials. Go ahead and put this rat's tail to use, and then I'm going to stop so I can get me something to eat, and I may record again tonight. If I don't, then I'll see you tomorrow, but I think I'm probably going to do another play session after I get done with my food. So let's just save real quick. I don't think I really need a tent. Walk back around to where we left our ship. Which could have been right there, I think, but I didn't think about it. Yeah, I guess we can build our levels a little bit more. And then if we had taken a shortcut. Healing staff can only be used in battles. You can't use it to heal your party outside of battle specifically. Test that out in just a minute. outside of battles only. So if your health gets low and you're outside of a battle, you can just go ahead and use your magic or healing items instead. Now we're gonna go to those little islands that I was telling you about earlier. Again, this is more spoiler stuff. These are the dragon caves. There are 13 chests to collect. That one's got money. Money. And more money. Some more in that little room over there. And there's some dragons. Only the truly brave can obtain a token of their courage. Money. More money. More money. And X potion. Those are always nice to have. There's not very many in the game. It feels like at some point they just gave up on thinking of new loot to put in the boxes, so they're just like when your parents get tired of buying your Christmas gifts and they just start giving you money. That's them. Just like, put some money in there. Unnecessary battle. X potion. So that's nice. Once long ago, there was an age when man and dragon lived together. If you say so. Alright, I don't think we can go anywhere else in here. Airship. That I think go to the same room. Yep. It is a rare thing to have humans visit us here. If you are valiant warriors, you should speak with Bahamut, our king. And that just has an elixir. The elixirs are even more rare than the X potions, and they restore all of your HP and your MP. So those are super valuable. The dragons of the Cardian Islands have no love of senseless killing. Cottage and more money. So I usually hang on to the elixirs for the end game. Just don't want to waste them on just some random battle. Another little island. This is the chamber of Bahamut, the Dragon King. Mind your tongue. The Dragon King looks within to measure a person's true courage. I know Bahamut exists outside of this game. I don't really remember offhand where from. Long has it been since men of courage stood before me. Your bravery seems worthy of consideration. The rat's tail you carry is a fitting token of courage and strength. So be it. I shall honor you with titles befitting your valor. And it does this thing and changes your party class. And I remember when I first played this being like the most amazing moment. Like, oh my god. Whole new class. So your warrior becomes a knight and becomes uglier. in my opinion. Your thief becomes much cooler looking, and he becomes a ninja. Your white mage, I'm gonna say uglier. She becomes a white wizard. I mean, look at that face. That is a weird looking face. Actually, it's exactly the same face as on the knight, now that I look at it, with different hair. And your black wizard goes from the gender-neutral little person with no face and a hat on to what looks like a dude in a robe, but I guess it could be a woman with short hair. So we're gonna say Egwene is still a girl, even though she's a little butch looking. And the black mage is now a black wizard. The main difference for the two mages is they now have access to some more powerful spells that they couldn't cast before. The thief has access to different equipment now. I don't remember if this game the ninja has any new abilities or not. Because the thief in this game I think actually didn't have steel either. And then the warrior, oh yeah, I think the ninja has access to low-level black magic now, and the warrior has access to low-level white magic, neither of which is ever very useful because the spells they have access to are so low-level, and they don't get that many casts of them. But anyway, it's something you can do. So what I usually do at this point is go ahead and take everybody's equipment off and re-equip everybody, because what they can equip, at least the first two, has changed somewhat. So you'll get the ice brand, flame shield, mithril gloves, mithril helm, and knight's armor, which I think was probably the same thing he had before. Our ninja will get the other ice brand and the other ice shield, mithril gloves, mithril helm, and the flame mail. She gets the mithril hammer, leather cap, ruby armlet, since the ninja guy is not wearing it now, and the leather gloves. And he gets the power staff, leather cap, silver armlet, and leather gloves, so no upgrades for him. Restore the crystals to grace. So there's nothing else to do in here. I think there was one more hole to go down. We have 3 more chests to collect. There might be 2 more holes. So I feel like there's another empty hole. So we'll go ahead and pick up the last of the treasure. And then I'm going to fly back around to the towns we've already visited, so that we can pick up any spells we skipped, and also get the spells that the warrior and ninja have access to now. Just to have them, because like I said, they're not really super useful. And that's the hole that doesn't go anywhere. Worm. This does remind me that if you are working on achievements, there's one for beating all of the enemies in the bestiaries at least once. And there's a few that you may not run across because they only appear in kind of weird areas where there's not a lot of reason to walk around. And this might be one of them, that worm, because you're not going to spend a lot of time walking on these little islands, and I'm not sure where else in the game it might appear. Once you get the airship, you don't have to do nearly as much walking, although you still have to do some. Yeah, this is the last one. It's a tent in there. I'm not gonna go talk to the dragon guy. He's probably just gonna say the same thing as the other ones. Some dry ether, and the dry ether just restores more magic than the regular ether. It's kind of the ether version of the X potion, and another gold needle. I think that's all the treasure. It is. So go back to the surface. And like I said, I'm just going to revisit the towns we've already been to. Tie up loose ends on our magic acquisition. Start with Familia. And while I'm here, I'll visit the inn. And possibly also the item shop. Got that cheap ass inn. Out my high potions and my ethers. 99 is the most you can carry of any individual thing. How much would it cost? 44. I think I can afford that. Antidotes. Eye drops. Really needing the echo grass all that much. I don't know if the golden mules are worth the spend yet, so we'll leave that. And I've got enough of these other things. Not a ton of expensive stuff left to buy, but there is still some stuff left to buy, so I don't want to get too carried away spending my money. Spell for our knight. I'll go ahead and pick this up for her just because. And I will get protect for both of them. Back to the black magic shop. Fire spell from that. I'll go ahead and grab the sleep spell just because. Just gives them some options. If we run across enemies that can only be damaged by magic or something that might come in useful. And it gives us a couple of extra cure spells. Grab the ship. And go to Provoca. Get out of my way. Are over here. Pick up blind and that. shops to visit here. Fire for the ninja. And Thundara. I don't know if I'll ever use it, but I'll go ahead and get it. Castiara or heal. Buy the more expensive shops. I think that may be the last point at which our knight and ninja can purchase any spells. All the rest of them are too high level for them. Let me go check. Could get Stu Haste. Lazara. Sleep or Confuse. Let's try Confuse. He's got one slot left, so we'll give it 10. Poisona, or Fear, or No Frost, or Vox. So, I'm gonna get Vox for her, and also No Frost. So I guess our ninja's a little more adept at magic than our knight is. Save just in case. Anticipating anything's gonna happen, but you know. The next place we need to go is... Is it maybe Melman? I'm pretty sure at this point there's no more magic to pick up for the ninja or the warrior, either one. But I'm gonna go ahead and double check to make sure there's not any spells I want that I didn't get for my regular mages or wizards now. Got that, and yeah, I got 3, so we can't cast any of those, so there's nothing to buy there. None of those are usable by the ninja. So Crescent Lake would be the next town. That's the last town we've visited so far. exit spell, which will take you all the way out of a dungeon, which is useful to have if you run out of supplies or something, or if you're just grinding and you want to be able to go back and stop at an inn or do whatever. Over at the Black Magic Shop. I don't know if any of these were restricted or if I just decided I didn't want them. At their price, I really still am not that enthusiastic about them, so I don't think I'm going to buy any of those. Alright, so go ahead and save right here. And this is where I'm going to stop for this session. When I come back, we'll be heading toward our next destination, which is going to be one of the towns on one of those upper continents. If I can remember which one I need to go to next. So I will probably see you later tonight, and if not, I'll see you tomorrow.